What's going on, guys? Coach Joe here at the Lions Den, and some of you guys have been asking for me to do a podcast. Now, I'm trying to get together all of the equipment to do a podcast and have a studio in here at the gym. However, what I've been doing is some Skype calls. So this is going to be uploaded onto the YouTube channel, obviously, and it's going to be a little bit longer of a format, 30 to an hour, depending on how the conversation is going. But I really wanted to dedicate 2018 as like my gratitude tour, where I get in touch with people who have really helped mold me to become the person I am today, with training, with business, with life, you name it. So the first person that I got on this Skype call is Travis Stoetzel out of Omaha, Nebraska. And Travis and I had met, I want to say 6 or 7 years ago. He was my online coach. And he was friends with guys like Elliot Hulse, Zach Evanesh. And I really connected with him on how he goes and attacks his life. His programming was something that was very unique at the time, mixing in, powerlifting with Olympic lifting, and you guys know it's kind of what I'm known for doing. So he's going to get on here. He's going to talk just to start a conversation. I do want to apologize because this was the first one that I did, and it was a great conversation. However, when I checked the recording, I had only zoomed in on his forehead for about an hour of the conversation. So I'm just going to put a still image over. You guys just put your earphones in, listen to it, whatever you're doing. I can guarantee you're going to find some knowledge bombs in this. As always, go and follow him on social media and YouTube. He's one of those early guys who really made an impact in this industry, and I can't say enough good things about him. So if you want to get tougher with business, with life, and just be a lean, mean strength machine in your training, Travis Stoetzel is the guy for you. Let's get into it and dive into the content. All right, guys, what's going on? Coach Joe here over in PA, talking with my man Travis Stoetzel, who is over in Omaha, Nebraska, which is definitely a little hike. But he runs the Forged Athlete Gym, correct? That's the gym.
Yeah, that's right.
And then Train Aggressive is how I knew him on YouTube, the YouTube realm. And just pretty cool for me to talk to him because he's been a mentor. I think it's been 7 years since I've been watching you on YouTube, helped me out with programming and coaching that long ago, really helped get me on a path to where I am now in my own gym. So figured it'd be cool to get you on here, do a Q&A, and just pick your brain, kind of tell everybody who follows me about you, get them over to your stuff, see what you're all about, and hopefully give some insight on things.
Oh, yeah, man. That's funny you mentioned that. Gosh, how long ago was it? I actually wrote, that's how we first connected. Like I wrote, you did some elite coaching.
Yeah, I did that. And
I was like, I'll write some crazy shit for this guy.
Yeah, no, it's nuts. What was crazy too is like when I started working with you, I think you had done something with Elliot Hulse, and he put either like a program out that you had, and I tried it. I was like, this is badass. And then I contacted you, and it's funny because you responded, and I was like thrown off because back then it was like if you get to somebody and talk to them in person, like, that was kind of a big deal. It's tough to do now. And then it kind of worked backwards. Like most people, I think, started with Zach Evanesh and underground strength coaching, but I found you first, and then you kind of led me to Zach Evanesh and that whole, scene that he had going on. But yeah, it's been a while, and it's kind of cool to see your growth and my growth, and then now we're doing this, so it's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah. Hell yeah, bro.
But for the people, I guess, that don't know you, like, what's your background, I would say, with like being an athlete, up to college level, and then after. Like, what's your deal and what you're all about?
For sure. So, yeah, I played football in college, just a smaller college, NAIA school, Hastings College. Played football and baseball there, and then gave up baseball and two sports. Two sports is ridiculous. So, like, guys like Deion Sanders and, like, Bo Jackson, at that level to do that, unfreaking believable. But either way, I wasn't at that level, obviously. So football, baseball, gave up baseball my sophomore year, continued to play football. And then I was very talented. I had all the skills as far as like speed. I mean, I could jump. I was quick, just didn't have the size. I tried to do what I could. I tried to I tried out for a couple different arena football teams. I played a little bit of arena football, but that's really like those few years that I was prepping for like combines and training myself. That was like when I kind of made the switch. I was like, all right, probably not going to make it professionally, let's go ahead and switch gears and become a coach with this stuff. Cause I was buying everything. Like I was buying DVDs. I was buying different gadgets to increase my speed. And so my background is primarily like strength, power, speed, performance training. Right. And so that's what got me into the coaching. And I actually got my first job. The way I got it, I had a buddy here in Omaha who invited me out. We were trying out for the arena football team here in Omaha. And so I was out here and I worked out at the big box gym that he worked at. At the time, I met the fitness manager, and he pretty much hired me on the spot. I had just got my CS, and so I was like, well, hell, I'll start training people. And so I was at the big box gym for a couple years too long. Like the first year was really good. I enjoyed it, but then just being in that atmosphere and just, it sucked the life out of you basically. And the way I wanted to train people, who I wanted to train, it just wasn't catered in there. So actually my buddy that originally started the Forged Athlete Gym, he's back there working out right now. My man, Joe. But yeah, we worked together at this Globo gym, and together, him and I, we flew out to New Jersey, and we went through Zach Evanesh's underground strength cert. And so as soon as we came back, we just fucking took action, found a little tiny spot, and then that's when the Forged Athlete was first born. And so, yeah, we went from like a little 1,000 square foot space to now I'm in a 6,000 square foot space. So it's definitely gone through some transitions over the time, but it's been a fun ride. So that's kind of my backstory, how I got into it, and yeah, man, that's kind of where we're at today.
So how many gyms have you had prior to this one you're in now?
3. So this is my 3rd gym.
That's awesome.
And so I don't have those other locations anymore. It's just like we had to move because we were just running out of space. Like we were literally like wintertime, it'd be like packed like freaking sardines, right? So we had to upgrade, so to speak.
So like
good problem to have, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's a great problem to have in terms of business. But so you kind of clicked with Zach Evanesh's style of training. So back when you were getting into it, was he kind of the guy who was on YouTube, or like is that kind of the guy, like a mentor or someone who kind of inspired you to do what you do today?
Absolutely. Like he was probably one of the bigger mentors I had. I've done a lot of things with Zach, like from masterminds, and I've gone out to multiple certs with them. I've done a couple different things with him. What really attracted me to him was I was a past wrestler too. Mm-hmm. So like somehow I stumbled on him. I think one of the ways I first found out about Zach was when I was at the big box gym still. I went to a trainer's workshop. Ryan Lee put on this trainer's workshop, like online marketing type thing. And so I went out there, and that's when Zach like went up on stage and like presented, and I met him afterwards. And that's kind of how I first heard about him. And then I started watching his YouTube videos and stuff like that. And the way he was training, like an athlete, strongman type stuff, just throwing the kettlebells around and just odd objects. And I was like, hell yeah, that's how I want to train, man. So
he's a good dude. He's hilarious as well. Yeah. Like when you meet him in person, he'll keep you cracking up. So with your gym, the Forged Athlete, in such a saturated market, like who are the kind of people that you're looking to get, and how do you do that? And what makes you different from anybody around you?
Man, the saturated market around here, it's a lot of CrossFit gyms anymore. I mean, there's even a lot of strength and performance gyms, other gyms that pop up. Like in this day and age, like when we first started the gym, like what set us apart were like just the style of the gym. So kettlebells and sleds and tires and all this stuff. I mean, really the equipment doesn't mean jack shit unless you know how to use it, right? Yeah. But anymore, I mean, even like the big box gyms, like Lifetime Fitness has, tires and kettlebells and, different things like that. And so I mean, it's cliche, but what really sets us apart is just the community that we have here. And it's the codes. It's the codes and the culture that we live by in here. And so everybody that walks through the doors, they know, like, when they come here, it's time to work hard. Like, It's time to work hard. Our mantra is, go ham, earn it, refuse average, right? Yeah. And so it's always been the same message. And so at this point in time, like, you get so consistent with that, you start attracting those people, and people just know what you're about. They know we're not people that know. They know we're not a CrossFit gym, but they know we're a strength and conditioning based gym. Like, we train like athletes here.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Just our own thing. It's hard to explain, but it's funny because we'll get people that have been at CrossFit gyms in other locations in town, and they'll come in here and they'll say, well, we always thought that you were kind of like CrossFit, but man, it's way different here. And so we'll attract people that love it here. But then you get some people that come in from like a straight up like CrossFit gym that's like CrossFit to the T, you know, they won't fit in very well. It's an odd thing, but we are who we are, so.
Yeah. So what would be an example? I would say the difference between you and a regular CrossFit box, either in programming, like that you would incorporate that maybe they wouldn't, because I know you've done the open and stuff, right? And like regional level.
Yeah. So I mean, we have a lot of athletes that compete. That compete in CrossFit. Like I've competed since 2011. So this year I'm going individual again. I'm going to try to make it I will make it as a master's athlete.
There you go.
I'll do it this year. So, I get to go up that category, right? So, yeah, I mean, we have competitors in the gym. And so for them, it's specificity really. So if you're going to be a competitor, they got to train a little bit different. They know that it's going to take additional training just from like showing up and going through the class sessions, right? And so the way the gym is broken up, like there's a lot of different programs that go on in the gym. So we have like athlete specific programs. So we got a lot of wrestlers. We got a lot of wrestlers that come in here, football players, a lot of soccer players that come in. But I mean, obviously they're training specifically for their sport. Yeah. And then we got like our main strength is what we call it. That's geared towards like, we've attracted a lot of people that are ex-athletes, adults that just want to, feel better, look better, perform better. And so we got that program, and that is a little bit more CrossFit-ish, right? But there's still a method to the madness as far as like the programming goes, which we can go into that a little bit more. But then, like I mentioned, we got like our competitive athletes who, they're doing a lot of extra stuff, a lot of extra structured stuff. They know they're going to have to put in the extra time, different things like that. But we have another unique program. It's like our warrior training. So that's more for guys that are trying to, not necessarily train for CrossFit, but they want to get bigger and just train for strength, kind of meathead-ish type stuff. So
yeah, I mean, hey man, it's all good. No, I like that just because it's not like you definitely set yourself apart where you're not going in and it's like just random reps and these movements and stuff. It's structured, and I feel like that's what people need is that structure. So personal question. So when I opened my gym, I just came from being a strength coach and I had clients, but then I could always train myself and I had hours and it was great. Now running a business, right? It's almost like the priority right now is to grow the business while training is still a high priority. Yeah. The business is obviously what I'm trying to push. So it's kind of like, how did you balance like your workouts? If you can't do the 2 hour or the hour and a half session now, it's like did you condense it to work on the business? Did you kind of figure out that you had to come up with some sort of method of like, I got to get my training in, while doing this stuff with the change?
Yeah. Honestly, before I had my first daughter, so I do a lot of online remote coaching and I've done a lot of programs, and that's, like you mentioned, that's how you found me originally. What did you do? Unbreakable Badass?
Probably. I mean,
whatever, I remember I was paying you like, it was like $300 a month, you know what I mean? And I was like, if I'm doing it, I'm committing to this guy.
Yeah,
And
we
were doing like, we did 4 months, and honestly, like I just still remember the programming concepts were so different from whatever was going on at that time, you know what I mean? Because you were kind of merging the ollie, regular lifts, and then you're whooping your lungs at the end. And back then it was kind of like you had almost like CrossFit or like strength training. It wasn't like this mesh. But that's what I was doing with you. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And honestly, that's like when I got into CrossFit, that's how I was programming. So at the time, a lot of people were like, a lot of the CrossFitters were just doing CrossFit. So just like doing the random workout every single day.
Yeah.
Whereas my background, it was like from a strength and conditioning background, sports performance. So there's got to be that structure in there, that progressive overload. And so I basically took that and I combined that with, the variation of like CrossFit. So basically controlled chaos was what it was, what I created. Right. But, yeah, man, as far as going back to your other question, we kind of got off track there for a second, but, before I had my first daughter, I knew shit was going to change. Like I wasn't going to be able to, hang out at the gym all day and train when I wanted to. And so I actually sat down and I was like, all right, I need to create a program that I can get done in 40 minutes or less, right? So we're thinking, in order to do that, you have to be disciplined with your time. We all have the same amount of time in a day, 24 hours, right? So for me, like putting together a program like that, it's basically like in structured blocks, right?
Yep.
And so that's when like every minute on the minute type training, every 2 minutes, or, different types of setups, intervals, things like that. You can stay very, very structured and you can get a lot of shit done with that. So basically what I created was, I called it Minimalist Strength. And so it's a program that you can do 40 minutes or less, barbell, set of kettlebells, your own body weight. That's it. Like you don't need a bunch of, fancy stuff. You just need the basics and that's it. So before my daughter came, I created that, and I still, to this day, like I'm still creating that because I know there's a lot of people out there that are busy, and that's like one of the biggest excuses is I don't have the time to train. I don't have the time to train. It's like bullshit. Like you got 40 minutes.
Yeah.
You got 10 minutes. You can still, get something done, right? So
yeah, for sure. And I've even found like, because I used to do like 5-6 days a week of training just because I could. But now it's like, if I can get 3 or 4 in, but I know and I can focus in on like the main points and cut out some of the BS I didn't realize I was doing, but I was, it's like, I almost feel better. It's so weird how it works that way.
Yeah, there was a point in time when, and this was before my daughter was born, I want to say like 2013, where I was doing like double days. I was doing, 2 sessions in one day, just thinking, oh, well, if I'm going to make the CrossFit Games, I'm going to have to do, double sessions like all these other athletes are doing. And honestly, it just got to a point where I was just doing extra stuff and the intensity was just like, so when I guess having my first daughter, like really made me, it kind of opened up my eyes a little bit more. And it's just like, less is better. And that's really the mantra of Minimalist Strength is more is not better. Better is better. Right.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Minimum effective dose, right? So
yeah, no, I completely agree. And I'm just getting the taste of it now, even though it's still young. It's just like you can't keep doing that. And I would even feel that way, just like burn out, or just like I'm doing this because I think I'm getting better, but I'm not getting stronger. So here's a good question. So when we started training and talking years ago, I remember it was just like hardcore paleo, and you were like all about that. And then recently it seems like you've changed your opinion a little bit more. And you even said, like, I used to think this way, and now I think this. And I even saw you put a video out today talking about, I think it was with fasting and kind of like the stress on your body and all that kind of stuff. So just give me some backdrop on that, because I went on a keto rant the other day, and people were eating that up a little bit. So I guess what's your opinion on that whole thing then and now?
Yeah, so I really didn't even pay attention to my nutrition until like my senior year of college, until we had a nutritionist come in and talk to our team. And it was just like, ding, oh, food is like fuel for your body. I feel like shit on game days because we go out the night before and just eat pizza and, pasta.
Yeah.
And so that's really when I started to switch gears and started to study it a little bit more. But still, I mean, I was very naive with a lot of things. And so the first route I went down, because I actually did a bodybuilding show back in 2007.
Okay.
So I was in the whole bodybuilding realm. I got coached by my wife's coach, who was just like, he didn't give a shit if he fucked your metabolism up or not. You're going to eat 1,000 calories, and it's just going to be the traditional bodybuilding method, like, brown rice, chicken breast, and, broccoli. That was it. Like, eat that, eat every so often. And so I was like bought into that system. I thought that was how it needed to be. So I went that whole route. And then after that, that's when after my bodybuilding show, that's when I transitioned into CrossFit, and I was like, all right, I'm going to get in this CrossFit. And so paleo was the thing then, right? And so it's like the big thing, and that was the buzzword. And so I went all in with it, like full on paleo. And basically I was just like, yeah, you can eat anything you want as long as it's high quality food, like eat as much as you want. Oh, and you're doing CrossFit workouts on top of that, so you need all the extra fuel. So yeah, go ahead and have all the avocados you want, all the bacon you want, and all that stuff. And so I fully bought into that. And I'll never forget this. Like, I was sitting there, I was eating so much steak. Like, I was eating steak like every single night, cooking it in butter and just having stuff like that. And my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, she was like, are you trying to get bigger? I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, you're looking a little thick. And I was like, being thick, like, are you calling me fat? She's like, yeah, you're actually kind of looking a little fat. And I was just like, yeah, you are right. I am gaining a little bit of weight. And that was like the first time in my life, like, I'd been called like chubby. And so I had actually gained a little bit of weight. I mean, I wasn't like, overly fat or anything like that, but it would just like open up my eyes. I was like, well, here I am eating as clean as possible. I've cut out everything imaginable, like no sugar. Like, I was the guy, like, we'd go out to Dairy Queen or something, and I'd just sit there in the corner.
You're still pretty strict, though, from what it sems like, though, too. Like,
what's that?
I said you're still pretty hardcore, though. Like, I think you put a post. Or are you listening up?
Like, every Friday night, I'll post it on my Instagram tonight. Like, every Friday night, they know me by name. Cheesecake Factory. Factory. I keep that place open. I get a slice of cheesecake every Friday night. And we'll typically do stuff on the weekends. But yeah, it's more of a flexible approach right now. But yeah, I went through the whole paleo phase. I mean, you learn a lot about that, where obviously high quality food is, very, very important. Is it the fix? Absolutely not. The big thing that I was missing out on was quantity, right? Quantity is always going to be number one when it comes to nutrition. And I was kind of blinded back then. I was young because A, I was training quite a bit, and B, you just have that thought that, oh yeah, I'm training so hard, like I can pretty much eat anything I want and get away with it. And that right there goes to show you, like, doesn't matter if your quality is the best, like, you can still get fat, you can still eat too much, right?
Yeah.
So I went through that phase, and then when I went through a little phase, like intermittent fasting came into play. And so I basically took paleo and intermittent fasting. I was like, oh, this is the magic fix, right?
Yeah.
And so I was kind of in the same mode where, just eat high quality foods and add in this fasting. You don't have to count any calories. And that was stuff that I read too from a lot of big name coaches, so I'm sure you can think of one of the more popular coaches came out with that, right? And like everybody jumped on that thing, right? And so anyways, I went through the whole fasting phase, and fasting, it works. And I'm not saying like paleo or fasting or anything doesn't work. You have to have your quality number one. And so the change that I went through is just better education. I hired a coach. I hired Jason Phillips. I started working with him like 2 years ago.
Oh, right? Cool.
About 2.5 years ago. So he started coaching me. I started learning. He became a mentor.
Yeah.
Me in regards to nutrition, I soaked that stuff up. I went and got certified by him.
Oh, cool, man.
For the last couple of years, I've been coaching clients and just learning through application, and it's been a game changer. And so, yeah, really the key to nutrition is there should be a little bit of freedom in there. Flexible dieting to me is the best way to do it. When you have like 4 pieces in place, or you understand the 4 key pieces of nutrition. So quantity is always going to be number 1. You're going to fuel yourself in accordance to your goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Quality obviously is still important. Timing, and then supplements, right?
Yep.
Supplements and timing are at the bottom. So, I mean, if you're intermittent fasting, great. Is the quantity right? All right, you're going to get results then. If it's off and you're not paying attention to it, then, it doesn't matter if you're fasting or not, right? So
what would you say in terms of like strength wise, how you felt doing like something like the intermittent fasting and the paleo versus how you feel today, like performance based?
Funny story, man. 2012 was when I was like fully bought into the intermittent fasting. I was competing at regionals, 2012, and those were like purely anaerobic like workouts, like a lot of them were, right? I was fasting. I was fucking fasting through those workouts. Like I had no fuel in my body.
Just going
breakfast or anything. I just had like coffee. That was it.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I gotta fast. Like I'm getting the growth hormone and boost benefits from fasting. Little did I know I just
that's crazy.
Yeah, so that went downhill, and so that was kind of an eyeball opener. Like my strength and just training sessions went to shit, and I was still kind of like a carbophobe during the days, like when I was going through like paleo and fasting and stuff like that. And then like just when I first started working with Jason, like he really opened up my eyes, and I was like, well, shit, yeah, probably do need carbohydrates, right? And so I mean, it's been a 180, right? So
that's good though. At least you're admitting it, unlike other people who just don't ever say that they were wrong.
Yeah.
So
I wasn't necessarily wrong. I mean, I was, wrong to say like quantity doesn't matter. Like I remember time, like, and I still see coaches say that in this day and age. Like, do you have to track your macros? Do you have to know exactly where you're at? Absolutely not. It's good to know, like, be aware of where you're at. If you're not getting results, might as well track and see where you're at on the map, and so you can make tweaks. But still, that doesn't mean that you have to track every single thing that goes into your mouth, right? So,
yeah, definitely.
Benefits to it.
So I guess we'll go with where do you think the whole fitness industry is heading in terms of like the future? Like you were saying that there's more boxes popping up, or like in my area, I'm starting to see way more less big Globo gyms and more smaller gyms. I don't know if it's the same out where you're at, but just kind of like the trend of it. I got into strongman. I'm starting to see a little bit of like a strongman spike going, which is kind of funny because it's been around for so long, but now you see like the CrossFit games and stuff, they're using yokes and farmer handles. So I don't know, like if you have any just like thoughts on what you see in fitness in general, kind of where it's heading.
It's definitely kind of niching down. So you're going to start to see a lot more gyms popping up. Like the big box gyms will always be there. But the gyms, just niched out gyms. So you're seeing places like Orange Theory, that put like a whole different, vibe. Like people love that stuff. They go in there. My wife went and tried it out. It's like a freaking dance club, right? Like people are going to eat that stuff up. Are they ever going to come to my gym? Absolutely not, right? That's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So you're going to start to see even more gyms pop up like that. Like we actually have, I want to say we have like 4 Orange Theory locations.
Oh, wow.
There's 2 other locations that popped up that are basically Orange Theory, but they're a different brand. And so they basically like copied them. But so you'll see a lot. I mean, CrossFit gyms are going to continue to pop up. Another trend that I'm seeing is gyms are actually unaffiliating with CrossFit because they don't want to be associated with CrossFit because, obviously CrossFit has a bad name to people that don't know any better. They think it's like a big franchise. And so you get a client. I've had numerous people walk in and they'll see the kettlebells. They'll see the oh my gosh, you guys do you do CrossFit here? I did CrossFit and I got hurt, so I don't think it's going to work out here. And then you got to explain to them, like, not all CrossFits are the same. You know, not all gyms are the same that have the same equipment. It just doesn't mean that we do the same stuff, right? But so I'm starting to see that here in town locally. A lot of the CrossFits that were like OG CrossFit gyms, they're unaffiliating, and they're becoming like a, you know, a transformation center or you know, strength and conditioning place. So, but I think the more niched out facilities you're going to start seeing popping up.
Funny story about that is with CrossFit. So I got my CrossFit cert, my level 1, and when I first was going to open, I wanted to affiliate, but I wanted to be different. And I remember I didn't know if yours was an affiliate at the time, and I messaged you, and I was like, yo, should I be an affiliate? And you were like, why would you affiliate if you want to be your own brand? And like literally, like, I don't know, I remember I was just sitting at the counter and I was like, yeah, why would I do that? Like, and then I just never did it again. But it's just funny, just kind of just like looking for someone to just make that point clear. It's like, why would I even pay that money when you're trying to be a maverick?
Trying to be your own self. Yep.
Yeah. So in terms of yourself, you know, like with either business and training, like what's your future looking like? Like what projects do you have going on, or what are you trying to get involved with right now? Even like the online stuff, like, cause you said you do a lot of the online programming, or even at your gym, like what are you trying to do with this year?
I mean, just continue to grow my gym. I mean, I'm blessed to have an amazing community of athletes, amazing team of coaches. So we'll just continue to grow that. I mean, it's just awesome. But aside from that, just the online. So basically, I've taken everything I've done online or in the gym, I basically have put out there online. The biggest change that I'm going through right now is I've kind of rebranded things. And so Train Aggressive is actually, it will be no more. It'll always be there, but basically it's all Forged Athlete right now. And so like different bits and pieces of Forged Athlete. So I have the Forged Athlete gym, and then I've created an online community, which basically does like monthly programming. It has like a community for accountability and stuff like that, which the chaotic. So the programming that you kind of followed, this is what I train some guys that compete in CrossFit and are, you know, gunning for, you know, regionals and stuff like that. They follow chaotics is what it's called. So I have that in there. And then the Minimalist Strength is like the main programming for that. So the people that join that, they're basically those, you know, need something real quick to hit, but it's not going to be, you know, just some like, you know, interval session. Like you're actually going to get stronger, and, you know, it's a good blend of just strength and, you know, conditioning. Right. So that's Forged Strong. So that's like one community. And then really what I've been putting a lot of my time and effort into lately is the Forged Warrior project. And basically what this is just for guys, and just over the years of doing this, especially with like guys online, the one thing that guys need is a fucking strong community, right? So I think what's really turned the switch for me in this aspect has been just becoming a father, a family man, and trying to balance all this stuff. And so basically the Forged Warrior is a way to tie training in and really tie in the mindset of that too, and then just combine that with a strong community of guys, so that guys that are, you know, looking to better themselves from the inside out. So that's really what I've put a lot of time and effort into. It's basically like it's an all-in-one system for guys that are, you know, looking to transform themselves as a whole, instead of just give me workouts, right? Like for a lot of times, like, and you probably already know this, like the guys that are online that find us, like they can buy up all the programs they want, but what they don't need another program. What they need is they need to fucking follow through, right? They need to follow through. They need to commit. They need that accountability, right? And so that's basically what I've created with the Forged Warrior project, is that. And yeah, it's been real fun seeing guys go through that. It's really young still. It's only about 30 weeks old. So there's guys that have gone through the program, and then it's fun, man. So
that's awesome, dude. So I'll ask you a couple quick questions that are just totally unrelated to training, and then we'll follow up kind of at the end, like you were talking about that program. Like I want you to just take the time and just give all your information to how people can get a hold of you and all that kind of stuff. All right. So first one we kind of talked about earlier, but what's your favorite cheat meal?
Cheat meal. Every Friday night I get the chopped salad from Cheesecake Factory. So everybody's like, oh, salad, like that's healthy. No, I get 2 orders of sweet potato fries. 2 orders of sweet potato fries. I put those on top of the salad. I drench it in ranch. I eat that. That in itself is like 1,800 calories. And then I throw a slice of cheesecake on top of that, salted caramel cheesecake.
Nice.
I'll usually eat my whole slice, and then whatever my wife gets, I'll eat. Like she eats like half of hers, and I'll eat hers. So it's like a good, 3,500 calories. Every
That's
Friday.
awesome.
Not that, it's usually someplace else, but yeah, that's definitely my favorite.
Right on. All right, favorite movie that you would watch?
Oh man, favorite movie. There's so many good ones.
Or it's like top 1 or 2 that just pop in your head right away.
One that just my buddy and I just watched, and I'm pumped because number 2 is coming out. Sicario.
Oh, dude, I need to see number 1. Like, I want to see that.
I just saw number 2's coming out. Just a badass movie, man.
It's good?
Like,
All
I've
right.
met a couple people that are into that kind, like actually into that stuff. Like I got a buddy that's a DEA agent.
Mm-hmm.
It's like crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah, it'll blow your mind. All right, so something people probably wouldn't know about you, like just from seeing you, like what's like either something you're into on the side, like a side hobby, or I don't know, just like a weird fact about yourself.
That's always a tough one. Let's go to the next question. I'll think of something.
If you could have one piece of gym equipment, what would it be?
I've been asked this multiple times. I usually say a kettlebell. If a kettlebell, just because it's so versatile, I would do a kettlebell. But I would like to do a barbell. But it just depends. I'd have to go with the kettlebell.
Kettlebell? All right. And then Arnold or Sylvester Stallone?
Arnold.
Arnold's a man. Yeah, he's just an OG. Next one I have. All right, if it wasn't fitness, right? Fitness, what would you be doing or be interested in?
If it wasn't fitness, it'd probably be architecture.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. And then do you have that last one, the interesting fact about Travis?
Man, I'm not a very interesting dude. I have twin sisters. How about that?
You have what?
Twin sisters.
Ah, there you go. I mean, that's something new. All right, so we'll just wrap it up with closing, okay? I want this to be your plug time, so just spit out, like, where people can find you, what you do, the programs you offer, just because I think a lot of people that follow me could benefit from watching all your YouTube videos, getting involved with your programs. They've helped and shaped me to, where I am today, so I want the stage to be yours and just kind of give a spiel on what you do, man.
I'd say the best thing to do, there's just so much out there over the years I've put out. It's specific. Everybody's so different. Everybody's, has their own thing. And so just let's start a conversation. If you need help, if you're looking for extra guidance, just reach out to me, shoot me an email. I've always taken pride in that. Like you mentioned, like sometimes I'll look at my inbox and I'll be like, fuck, I have all these, but I've always made it a point, like, to follow up with every single person that reaches out, right? And so just shoot me an email, theforgedathlete@gmail.com.
Right on, man. That's simple.
You got questions, anything that you need help with, just shoot me a message.
All right, brother. So pretty much just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to do this. I'm going to put this on my YouTube channel, so I'll put all the info in the bio and get it out there on Instagram as well, and hopefully we'll get some people checking you out.
You can tell me about the keto.
Oh, what, the keto rant? Yeah. I definitely went hard, dude. And the reason I went hard on keto was, so I tried keto. Well, I thought I was doing keto, right? And I had my carbs low, But I definitely feel like in hindsight, I wasn't in true ketosis. I was really just doing a modified Atkins diet. I lost like 20 pounds, but I also lost a ton of strength. Like, I don't know what the hell. I was just reading out of a book, trying to do it myself. So I learned the hard way. But what drives me nuts is two things. One, people who are obviously on some enhancement preaching, that they're vegan or on keto. Yeah. And it's like, okay, that makes sense if you're having something that's building tons of muscle for you. Like, I get that, you know what I mean? But then you have people who think that, and it's like, in my opinion, having a vegan diet for the majority of people, right, is going to be hard to truly build substantial strength gains in terms of strength. Like, you're going to need meat and at some point to kind of help you get stronger. But what I saw was just people hashtagging keto that I personally knew while eating pancakes at the diner down the street. So when I see that, I'm just like, dude, like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But that just frustrates me. Yeah, seeing that Instagram, man, it's like Instagram fame now. It's like every single person I know, once they step into a gym or they eat something healthy, it's like they're keto or they're, if it fits your macros, and then they're doing.
That's the cool thing.
Yeah, and I'm at the eating shit phase, like, you know what I mean? Like it's cool, but it's like it takes a while, you know what I mean, man? So it was a lot. It was a lot to handle. So I kind of went full blast on that. But honestly, like, the majority of the people were cool about it. Like, I got a lot of good feedback. But I was just trying to clarify too with people, like, I'm not really against it, but it's the people who kind of put a different, they're not doing what they say they're doing. And the other thing is in terms of strength, like, we're strength guys. So when it comes to strength, it's like, a modified Atkins diet is going to have you lose weight, but you're not going to increase your bench by 50 pounds in 2 years, in my opinion. So that's kind of why I went off the handle with that one.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Yeah, so that's
good. Yeah, education, like I mentioned, like, keto works. Use it in accordance to your goals. I'm telling you right now, if your goals are to get strong as hell and, you're training in, mixed domains, so you're doing like high intensity stuff and whatever, it's not going to be the best for performance. But on the other hand, if you're looking to lose some weight and improve health and longevity and all that stuff, by all means go for it. But yeah, the guys that are out there preaching, I'm doing CrossFit and I've never felt better doing keto, like, that's hard to believe, man. Like, let me know if you feel 5 weeks into the open.
Exactly, right? Like you're saying regionals, that just blew my mind. That was cracking up when you told me that story. Just like you're thinking growth hormone. It's like you got nothing in your system.
Yeah. One of the workouts,
you're a savage.
I should retest one of the workouts. It was this would be a good one for you. 100-pound. I remember that year, like, I was like excited for this event. It was 10 dumbbell snatches at 100 pounds. So it was like the first year they came out with the 100-pound dumbbell. Like, everybody's like, oh, God, like, nobody had 100-pound dumbbells. I had one in my gym.
Yeah.
So a couple guys in town actually, like, called me, like, hey, can we come over and, try this 100-pound dumbbell? But it was that and then a sprint. And so it was just straight up anaerobic, like, glycolytic freaking workout. Here I was fasting, I'll my fasting fuel. I felt like shit. Man.
That's funny, yeah, because even like the Wadapalooza is the other big one that happened. But I think like it was either 2 or 3 years ago they had axle bar snatches in it, and I had axle bars in like no CrossFit gym. Like, I've never been hit up by more other competitors, you know what I mean, ever for using an axle bar. But they're panicking because they're like, "What's an axle bar? How do you use one?" Yeah, man.
Yeah, got to train with the odd objects, man.
Yeah, it's some old school underground strength gym stuff right there.
Yep.
I haven't talked to Zach in forever. I mean, he's honestly like an hour away, but I should link up with him sometime.
Yeah, he's still doing his thing, man.
Yeah, he's with 2
or 3 gyms.
Yeah, he's with the college. What the heck is it in Jersey?
Rutgers.
Yeah, Rutgers. He's with Rutgers, which is pretty sweet. But all right, brother, man, I will let you get to your next call because I know you're a busy man. Yep. But Yeah, dude, for sure. Like maybe sometime in the future we'll pick like a specific topic and we'll get you on, and we'll just dive into something deep that maybe people have questions on or whatever, and we'll get something going, man.
Sounds good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Oh yeah, absolutely, dude.
All right,
Travis.
Later, brother.
Take care, man.